Ladies and gentlemen, the Gunners family, Arsenal fans, gather here. Let us digest a few things from the press brief of Mikel Arteta talking about the game later today against Brighton and Hove Albion. Let us look at a couple of things Mikel Arteta had to say. Now, usually Mikel Arteta starts off his interview or press briefing with talking about players' availability and injuries. Let us hear a couple of what he had to say about that. So he was asked, about Kai Havertz. He said Kai Havertz was he did some part of the sessions that they have in training yesterday, and they will wait to see whether he will be available. On Martin Odegaard, he said, we'll see. On Ben White, he just simply said Ben White is not available, and I think at this point, Ben White will just have to sell and cash in. On Max Dorman, Mikel Arteta confirmed that Max Dorman is available. Now, the press went on to ask him about the pulse and the heart rate after their game on Sunday. He said, when the whistle went, it was done. So it wasn't for that long. So I think it's a very strong heart. So he was mentioning that the heart rate was up there, but then after the whistle, it took a while, and then everything restored and calmed down back to normal. Mikel Arteta was asked about Declan Rice's injury and as well David Raya if they are going to be available. He said for Declan Rice, I hope so. He's much better today. Obviously, we haven't really trained because we have only 2 days to prepare for a game. So hopefully, he's going to be better. So hopefully, Declan Rice is going to be available. On David Raya, he said, yes, David Raya is good and good to go. On set pieces, see, if there is one manager that has blocked his ear to the outside noise and what the press are saying about Arsenal set piece prowess this season, or the lack of it, it is Mikel Arteta. This is what he has had to say. He said, I'm upset that we don't even score more and that we concede as well from set pieces. So we want to be the best and the most dominant team in every aspect of the game. And that's the trajectory and the aim of this team. And as a club, we want to be the same. So we try to do that. So you people that are crying about set piece, and I go cry blood though, because Baba no send. On the game management, when in front, Mikel Arteta had this to say. He said, we have to do much better. And I've been crying about this, that we need to do much better to control games. So Mikel Arteta said we have to do much better on the ball in our actions. And then a lot of credit to Chelsea as well, because from very tight situations, they produce the biggest chance from a cross that is not a shot. So he's talking about that Garnacho's cross-come shot that almost cost Arsenal, the 3 points on Sunday. So we really have to improve on that. So he went ahead to speak about players and about the players' nerves. Mikel Arteta had this to say, we talk about every aspect of the game and managing a game, managing a result, managing a set-piece context. You have 10 men against 11. It's a very important one. So we discuss about everything. So he's going to be discussing about everything with the players. On facing Brighton, Mikel Arteta said that, look, Brighton are a very good side. They are coached well as well. They have a sequence of years as well with a very similar style and players that really fit their style. Really well, they want to do. They really believe in what they do. So always a very tough opponent. In my preview of this game, I said, when you're playing against Brighton, they are always going to have moments where they will dominate the game. So Arsenal have to be on their toes, and that's why I predicted a narrow 2-1 win for Arsenal. The press proceeded to ask him on if Mikel Arteta can use Eberechi Eze as the option on the wing since Martinelli and Trossard are not doing so well. This was his response. He said, yes, so depending on the opposition, especially, and the relationships that he's got on ground, right? Because Eberechi is a player that needs a lot of movement around him to activate those spaces. So you need to create space for, you need players to run around him to create space for himself so that he can be able to activate and perform well in the game. That was Mikel Arteta's response. The press also asked him about how to close games out and what he's doing on closing games. This is what Mikel Arteta said. He said there are a lot of factors to that. As I said, some of them are related to us and some are being more clear and more willing to do certain things. And then as well, what the opponent does to put Arsenal on the back foot. So a lot about, closing games out depend on how the opponents, attack or their lack of attack of Arsenal and all of that. And then they went on to ask Mikel Arteta on the quality of our set piece. Mikel Arteta said, I don't know. I mean, you as an opponent, you get upset when you concede a goal. I was really upset the way we considered a goal against Chelsea. And Chelsea look at the quality they have, the amount of set pieces they score. Manchester United are doing so well. The same when I was at Manchester City. So a lot of teams are using set piece, just that Arsenal do better at it, but that he wants an improvement from Arsenal in terms of attacking or scoring set piece or taking advantage of set piece situations, and as well to do better in defending set piece situations. On the game being about winning, Mikel Arteta had this to say. He said, look, I don't know, right? And you don't know. You can celebrate one goal differently from another one. Maybe YouTube, it's nicer with one than the other. Mikel Arteta. Anyways, Or if he could play in this era, asking Mikel Arteta if he has the capability and capacity to play in this era with the way football is being played now. Mikel Arteta stated, even 4 years ago, it was a different game, but yes, only a number 9. On the energy from the crowd, Mikel Arteta, because they asked him about turning to the crowd when the game was ongoing with Chelsea, he said, I think we have the ball. You need to make certain decisions. If I'm shouting to a player when they have the ball, pass to him, pass to him. You are not making decisions. You are just being told what to do, right? So it's about just, you know, the energy from the crowd, just the players doing what is needed at every point in time. So he doesn't need to shout at the player. Sometimes he needs to call on the crowd for the crowd to also assist the team. He was also asked on if Arsenal need to, control and dominate to win games more. He said if you can control and get dominance, you have the best chance of winning the game, especially in the areas that we want to win those games and what sequences we play that are more favorable for us. That is, of course, the objective, right? He was quizzed about the minutes that he's been given to Martin Zubimendi in his first season at Arsenal. Recall, I did say that we need Norgard in some games because Martin Zubimendi is beginning to lose focus in some games. This is what Mikel Arteta had to say. He said there are different circumstances that is leading to Martin Zubimendi playing. Obviously, the number of games and competitions that we are involved in, and certain injuries as well, and the fact that obviously he's doing so well, and for a first year, he is having a great season. Anyway, I just think that Mikel Arteta do not trust them. Not good enough. On concerns on Martin Zubimendi's fitness, Mikel Arteta said we have to manage his fitness. We have to do that now. I mean, we are late in the season and we've been doing that for a whole season. It is an unprecedented season for us. We've never played this many games ever in our history. On top of that, there are guys going with national teams in March, and on top of that, we have World Cup. So for sure, that's something we keep an eye on. So he has an eye on managing the minutes of Martin Zubimendi. On if he thinks as Zubimendi and Rice as a pair, what he thinks of Martin Zubimendi and Declan Rice as a pair. Mikel Arteta had this to say, I think of them as a pair. I mean, we always talk about these relationships and chemistry. There is one, and there is very strong off the field as well. That makes what happens on the field very special. So playing them together means because they are a pair both on and off the pitch. That is what Mikel Arteta has had to say about both of them. On if he thinks about resting Declan Rice and Zubimendi, he said, simply put, yes. It is always like this with any player. He thinks about resting any player. Or managing the emotions at the end of a season. He said, those emotions are going to be different now, but we manage a lot of emotions over the last 8 months. The deal from here until the end is that we are going to have to do a lot more of things that have nothing to do with emotions as well, to continue to rehearse and hope to win what we want to win. Data playing a role in game plans. Mikel Arteta said data and the education we have, I think that influences a lot. And yes, we learn from either of teams, league managers, and being implemented in the system. So he learns a lot. He draws on data to study his opponents. Basically, that's what he has had to say. On Bukayo Saka's adaptability and performances, Mikel Arteta says the importance of Bukayo and what he brings to the table emotionally to the team, the experience and the role that he already has in the team, and how he impacts the opposition is very clear. His performances have been really good. We can increase the numbers, obviously, but position at the moment, I think, is in a good place. And then he was asked on keeping fewer clean sheets in recent weeks. Mikel Arteta said, I think there are moments throughout the season that the type of goal we have considered lately is not very usual for us, right? But there are moments in the season where you concede, but the number of goals we have considered at this point of the season is unusual. So these are a few points from what he has had to say about his press briefing. Hopefully, the needed players will be available to take on Brighton and give us all maximum 3 points in this game today. Arsenal fans, let me know what you guys think about this press interview of Mikel Arteta, what he has had to say, and let's go.